No doubt. So the whole Bill Cosby thing, enlighten us.
This is my position. My position on Bill Cosby is simple, right? There's a legal issue,
right,
and then there's a cultural community issue we got to deal with.
Right.
Bill Cosby gave testimony that they said it wouldn't be used against him, and then they used it against him.
Right.
Whether he did anything or not is irrelevant at the legal level. He should be released.
Right.
I would say that I'm an abolitionist. I actually want to tear down this whole system.
Right.
But even if I believed in these prisons in this system, Bill Cosby should be free based on this case.
Right.
It's not a dispute to me. But to me, there's a second question we got to ask as African people.
Right.
Which is, how do we, amongst ourselves, deal with the question of sexual violence?
Right.
How do we deal with the question of sexual assault and rape?
Right.
And I'm saying that it's like OJ. I can say, look, OJ should be free. But once OJ's home, we're not receiving him as a martyr. We're not receiving him as a hero.
Right.
OJ didn't care about black folk. OJ, white community, white wife, domestic violence, all that. So we didn't celebrate OJ. We celebrated a victory against the evil system.
Right.
And I'm saying with Bill Cosby, we have to have a complicated conversation. Bill Cosby's done a lot for us.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
As Cliff Huxtable, who is America's dad, and we know that we deal with archetypes and things of that nature, do you feel that the hurt that Black America has felt, where they're hurting, they're painting Bill Cosby as an archetype of an abuser and things of that nature, do you think that the fallout from the community or the culture was so severe because that's America's dad? And this conversation should be had about molestation and about what's taking place where a lot of people have not got their justice?
Yeah, I mean, I think you raised a great point. A lot of people are really cheering for Cliff Huxtable.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love Cliff Huxtable. He was a great dad. That was an image that did a lot for black folk, just like A Different World did a lot for black folk. Just, the images are great. And I think that a lot of people are trying to hold on to that image because we have so few powerful, positive representations of black men in particular in society.
True indeed.
You know what I mean? So people try to hold on to that, but you can't do that at the expense of black women and black girls and black children. And we need to have a conversation about Dr. York too, because I think that's the same conversation we got to have, right?
Right.
Is how can we accept the good in something, but also hold people accountable? And we would rather pretend that everything that these women are saying, because all these women ain't white women.
That's right.
A lot of these women are black women. I've met some of them. I've interviewed them. I've looked at the evidence. That's what I'm saying. I'm not just going by speculation.
Right.
And what happened with Judge Joe Brown was arguing a point that I wasn't making.
Right.
He kept saying, yeah, but the law says he's innocent. I wasn't disputing that point.
Right.
He is legally not guilty. He is innocent until proven guilty, and there's no case against him. But we also have to have a conversation about accountability. It can't just be what sisters would do.
Right.
Because if we say it right now, Bill Cosby was accused of molesting 60 young black boys.
Right.
And they all said, we wouldn't just dismiss it. We would take it seriously, and we probably would cast them out if we had said that they was, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's things we accept and there's things we don't accept, and too often black girls are disposable, and we can't let that happen. We can't let anybody do harm. If Bill Cosby was
black boys are disposable in those situations as well.
I agree.
Yeah,
but because that's not the accusation that normally gets made. Right. Black boys tend to suffer in silence. Right. I mean, I watch another TV all the time, and I love the fact that y'all are having these conversations. I just want to have them. I want us to keep having them in a broader way, so we ain't got to choose between saying fuck Bill Cosby or I worship Bill Cosby.
So Mark, what about black journalism? What about black media? Black media and black journalism being, leading the way to take it a little bit further than accusations and whatnot. Taking the narrative out of the realm of, like they were saying, mob rule, where people's emotions are, levied against a brother, a man, a participant of many different cultures and ages, right? Cosby came up in the 60s, he came up in the 70s, he came up in the 80s, he became an elder in the 80s, and he became his persona changed into a more refined character and things of that nature. But when he was 30, when he was 40, when he was 20, hanging out with Hugh Hefner and doing some of the things during the sexual revolution, doing some of the things during a time where the education about sexual violence, of the education about sexual aggression, it wasn't as highlighted as it may be in this culture and things of that nature.
Yeah, you say he was a product of his times.
What I'm saying is, not only was he a product of his times as a young black man, right, who was in the entertainment business, who may have been a part of a culture that was culturally wayward, promiscuous, very deviant in its sexual nature. And we look around and we see that in the Rat Pack. We see that in with the comedians in Hollywood. Yeah. We see that in the casting couch, right? And we see that the ones that were white in Hollywood, that were allowing and opening up spaces for things like that to happen, right? When there was segregation, but these white men, like the Hugh Hefners and things of that nature, they were bringing safe spaces for black men to fornicate with white women and things of that nature, do drugs without being persecuted and whatnot. But then later on down the line, they get persecuted for having that type of fun. So what I'm saying is, black media, I feel that the responsibility of the media is to do, instead of CNN as somebody who is, they're not biased, they're not in our favor. What about our media doing a deeper story on mental health, or how do black men refine themselves for the wrongs that they've done in their young adulthood? The whole country,
Please, bro, yeah.
Find a white woman. You mean
good, brother?
Yeah.
Right.
Let me be very clear. And I was just teasing you, Brother Hill. I've heard a lot about you. I've read some of your stuff. I'll be messing with my junior brothers.
Look, I appreciate it.
The minute I saw Cosby get out of jail, I broke out one book. It's called Without Sanctuary.
Right.
And if you've seen Without Sanctuary, I couldn't feel no sympathy for none of those white women, because most of them are lying. I don't feel any sympathy for none of them until they reckon with the case for all of those thousands of black men that got killed because they lied about having sex, or they had sex with them when they got busted. They lied about rape. So if you want, it's like me asking the Jews to have sympathy with the Nazis. Somehow we can understand that, but we can't understand. We somehow think there's been a fusion between blacks and whites in America. There've never been a fusion. There've never been a correction. There've never been an ask for forgiveness. There've never been a reckoning. White women have been fully partnership with white men throughout this genocide. We keep talking about slavery and Jim Crow. This is genocide.
Right.
Lasted longer than any other genocide episode in the world. That you take Bill Cosby because he had a college degree and had some money, you think his mind was any less fucked up than the kids using crack on the street corner? All right? So I don't, at the ethical, Brother Hill, like you said, at that ethical moral level within the context of our community, there's one discussion we got to have when it concerns to how we deal with women, any women. But there's another level where, and I coined the term post-slavery trauma syndrome, and I did it behind the abuse of women, right? And particularly our women, that we abuse because we behave like white men. And we don't even understand. Most black women are abused by black men behaving like white men. So if some white woman got abused by a black man behaving like a white man, I can't look at that on the same level of discussion. I got to have a discussion about what's wrong with that man's mind when he should know better.
I agree.
But see, that's a deep discussion that we have to have within our community.
But I think sometimes what happens is brothers we're so committed to being as, our vision of freedom is being like white men and being as free as white men. So what we end up doing is saying, well, why should we give Cosby a hard time when Hugh Hefner's out there, when Harvey Weinstein is out there? And my point is, and my job in the media is to make sure we talk about Weinstein and Lauer and all of them, right?
But we can't do nothing about them.
We can only do about us.
And so my thing is, yes, they created this ecology. They dominate and control the social ecology, political ecology, economic ecology.
Yeah.
We are still the victims, whether we're, you think Oprah Winfrey's a free black woman?
Right.
I like and love Sister Oprah, but she is as damaged as the sister on heroin on the corner. Only difference is she isn't on the heroin, she's on the white heroin.
Right.
Which is more damaging to the human psyche. Black people got to have a discussion about what is the damage.
Right.
We act like we normal. Ain't none of y'all normal.
You can't be.
Every damn one of us is sick and damaged.
Right.
Any normalcy is a pretense. Okay? A pretense. So the discussion has to be done within the context. What the hell is normal for black folks?
Right, and it ain't white people.
Because if we look at Bill Cosby, nowhere in the hell could we think any of that behavior would be normal. But yet we won't call it abnormal.
And that's my only issue.
But I want the abnormality to be tied to
white supremacy.
Damage. I don't want to call it white supremacy because they ain't supreme to shit.
Fragility.
The white damage done to the African psyche, the African spirit,
That's white
and the
fragility.
African intellect. Because we make decisions even about love based on that pervert,
Yep.
which is sick,
Yep.
you know?
We agree.
And that's why we damage our women so terribly from the time they're little girls.
Right.
Right.
Because we confused with what the hell love is. We got no sense of God, yet we call God, God, God all day, and got no sense from an African point of view of what we should mean when we say God.
Yes.
Because therein will roll all of your ethical, moral explanation for your behavior, and will recognize the damage done to you and why you're behaving as an animal, because you're in an animal context,
Right.
in an animal cage, in an animal culture, with animal values, with animal praises and rewards.
Right.
Right.
And I think a lot of brothers in this Cosby conversation, we're so happy that he's free.
Right.
And that he's one of the few that got out of the belly of the beast,
Right.
that we're more focused on that than having the conversation that our elders trying to have us to
Right,
have.
right.
And so I'm just saying, let's do both.
And I'm totally on board with having both conversations. This is about accountability. This is about the conversation. This is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. A lot of our
Can I say one more thing
brothers.
real quick?
Of course you can.
It's not like I was criticizing Cosby when he was locked up.
Right.
That's the other thing. Because it's not like I'm fucking up his case.
Right.
He's home. So if we can't have a conversation after it gets dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can't try him again, then when we gonna have it?
Right.
Part of what makes me have no sympathy for the lady, because you come a year or so later, the DA only flipped the case in the beginning to help her get some money. You took the money,
Right.
then you come back with your viciousness again. I'd have slit your throat. But you don't have, you ain't got nothing to do with that comment. That's me.
Yeah,
you understand?
I disagree with it. That's all. I respect it.
But she agreed to go for that money. She could have pushed for justice if that's what she wanted in the beginning. That DA didn't change it because there was any great law in Cosby's favor. He felt that's the only way she would have a victory, so take the money.
Yeah.
So if you go for that, then the game's over. Go home. But you're going to come back 5 years later now for viciousness. Then why don't I come back for the last 100 years of lynching and burning and your false accusation of the Emmett Till and everybody else, and all white women then would have to be indicted because none of you stood up for us.
But and I ultimately, I mean to cut your wisdom, but I ultimately would love to start that conversation if we have to use Bill Cosby as the stepping stone to step into a more needed conversation about the trauma that some of us have experienced, the epigenetics that some of us are experienced by just being in America and uncovering the truths that they've been burying. Remember, they buried the rape, they buried the trauma, they buried their quote-unquote mishaps that they've been doing against our great-great-grandmothers and things of that nature. So if we could use that as a stepping stone to step into a deeper conversation or get into the middle of the pool.
Crazy deep.
Huh? Right.
You want to get real crazy deep?
Real crazy deep.
Cosby probably just thought he was seeking some vengeance. Now I'm done.
Bill Cosby case is a diversion. We shouldn't even be talking about him. We got too many issues that's going on in our community, especially Detroit, to be worried about him.
Right.
Mark, I love you, a brother, you're intelligent, but I want you to go hard in the paint for African Americans like you do the Palestinians. Man, Rashida Tlaib is like this, she's a Palestinian, but I tell her, I'm for our people. We got to get ourselves together. You are very...
Let me ask you a question. What would hard to pay for our people look like? What am I not doing for our people that I should be?
You're doing like Michael Eric Dyson. In my opinion, it's like you catering to white liberal audiences. That's what I see.
Give me an example.
And many,
well, let me say this. Let me say this. I hear that all the time, but I never understand it. I hear the criticism, but I never. No. I have been I've been doing this work since 1993. Right. 1993. I became an organizer with United for Success. Kabir Hadass, Philadelphia. Right. Organized Hiram Ashanti, our brother. Right. Was mentoring by Khalid up until 1990, up until he died, quite frankly, lived in the Nubian community, right? No Palestinians in none of these places.
Right.
I gave one speech at the United Nations, and you act like this. You been to Uncle Bobby's?
No, I haven't.
You support Uncle Bobby's?
I don't know who that is.
Right, it's the second largest black bookstore in America that I own and created for our people. It's next door to the People's Education Center, which is free education, free political education, free GED training, free job training that I do for our people. Not a Palestinian in a bunch. Not a Palestinian in a bunch, right? The work in Cobra, right? I've been going in Cobra meetings since '92. Not a Palestinian in the building, right? I live in a black community. My lady is black. My children are black. Everybody in my world is black, right? I could have built this stuff anywhere. When I went to teach, where did I go? Morehouse. Not Berzait, not Palestinian University. The film I'm doing on Palestine is about who? The African Palestinians. The Afro-Palestinians. You know about the Afro-Palestinians?
No, I don't.
Exactly. No disrespect, brother, but I'm saying it's easy to say that I'm playing that. No.
There's a lot of
No, let me
things
finish it. No, I'm not saying to disrespect you, bro.
I know who John Henry Clark is.
And so do
I know who Dr. Ben. I know who Francis Cress Welsing is.
I know all of them.
I know who
them
Leonard
well.
Jeffries is.
And I know them all, and they all at my bookstore too. But that's my brother.
Dr. Claude. That's who I know.
And I know all of them. My point, brother, is this idea that I'm playing in a white liberal, when no part of my tradition is a white liberal tradition. I've been part of the prison abolitionist movement. That's Angela Davis. She a white liberal? Nah. That's Asada Shakur. Is she part of the tradition? Nah. Malcolm X grassroots. Is that? So what?
Well, let me ask you. Say that about Jesse Jackson.
But I'm not Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson started. You remember in 1972 in Gary, Indiana, when they had the Black United.
Yeah.
Jesse Jackson was the most radical person with a black wife. Where is he at now? Where is he at now?
I don't know.
That don't mean nothing. Where is he at now?
So again, the question is, what am I not doing that you want me to be doing?
What I'm saying is.
No. You said I'm a white liberal politics. Give me an example.
My elder.
Now I'm gonna get in the middle because y'all aren't going to the wrong place.
No, we ain't going to the wrong place. But I'm saying, because I hear this online all the time, and it's like you follow white liberal shit. I'm saying I'm here. Where's the white liberal shit? No, I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping. But I'm just saying. When the books come out, where the books at? Do I write for white liberal books? The book with Mumia that all y'all, everybody was scared to write. Where was it? On Third World Press. I'm publishing.
I did 24 years straight in the joint. I'm self-taught.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But you said I fight white liberal ideology. I'm saying what's the white liberal ideology I'm following?
I'm not saying you.
No, that's what you said. So I'm saying which one?
To white liberal.
How? Give me an example. I'm not on CNN, and I'm not on CNN because I stood. No, I'm not on CNN because I stood at the United Nations and condemned the state of Israel when none of y'all said that shit.
No, condemn China for being in Africa, colonized.
I did.
That's what you do. Help us out.
Help us out. What am I not doing?
Dominant.
Close the mics down.
Okay, sorry. We just talk. I love it, bro.
What are we talking about? I'm just saying, people let the elders speak. And then when it's time to actually talk about it in real life, I don't know. Because I'm here. I don't know what Jesse. I'm here. We talking about work. I'm here.
Brother Hill.
No, you are questioning my integrity when you say that I'm catering to white liberals when we African.
You if I didn't think you have integrity. I don't get money for
So
that.
I'm saying, what white liberal? So again, what white liberal ideology am I playing to? What am I doing? You see, and then I got fired for standing up for us. I got fired from Fox and I got fired from Fox for refusing to denounce Asada or Khaled. So I don't even know what we're talking about. Oh, the elder speak. Go ahead.
Elder speak.
Brother Hill, look at me.
I got you.
Cool it down.
This is where it's happening.
There's a point where if you were out of line with your brother, you owe him an apology. See, there's a limit. When we're going to have a discussion, especially in front of the camera, we have to show respect even if we disagree.
We do.
And if you don't show respect, I may not agree with everything he writes, but if he had half of the shit I say, he may not agree with it. And we have to be able to ask questions of one another, disagree with one another, and not get engaged in disrespecting one another.
Amen.
Because it leads to conflict when we should be having conflict with somebody else.
That's facts.
You know, this is a young brother.
I apologize, brother.
I love my brother.
I got the spirit of Malcolm. I was at his grave yesterday. I got a lot, but I still.
You know. Okay, but let me just add a little one thing to this. You know, the black community is one of the most complex institutions in America.
The black community.
This is the fourth largest black population in the world.
Right.
It is the most sophisticated. It is the wealthiest. It's the highly educated. Yet it is the most marginalized in terms of the overall system. Yet we are in a power position different from any other black community in the world, even those that are nations.
Right.
So we take our complexity like it's so simple. It's not that simple. It's very complex. And so even when we disagree, the only point I make, disagree with respect for one another.
That's fair. That's fair. And I apologize if I turned up too fast. What it is for me is, because 99% of this stuff, I get love in the world. And it's on Twitter and social media. I hear this wild shit. Excuse my language, sister. This wild stuff. And I'm not saying you at this point, but I'm just saying, a lot of times I'm like, I'm in the places that people say I'm not, and I don't see them. So
I have to ask you, because if I didn't mention it, they would kill me. The Dr. Francis Cress Welsing thing. Because you're doing good, my brother. Let's just clear that up and get it. I want your understanding, because what's not fair is the fact that we get one side of the story and we don't get to hear from you to articulate where you stand on that.
So to be clear, what happened was on the day that Francis Cress Welsing passed, I posted a memorial to her.
Right.
It was all love.
Right.
She was generous to me.
Have you ever worked together?
We didn't work together, but I knew her.
Right.
And we disagreed at times.
Right.
And
Understandably.
she was my elder, so I listened to our Queen Mother, respected it, even if we disagree.
No problem.
I gave a testimony to what she meant to me as a young person seeking knowledge, as a bookstore owner, as a bookstore seeker.
Right.
And what the ISIS papers meant to me.
Facts.
Another brother wrote a critique of her, saying that there were things in the ISIS papers that for him did harm as a black gay or black queer, I think he identifies as man.
Right.
I posted on my Facebook page his critique and said his was more thorough and nuanced than mine. That might not be the exact quote,
right,
but I gave love to his post too.
Right.
So just the first thing is, I criticized her as much as I gave space for another person to
repost.
The repost, but I take accountability for it. I'm not saying that to pass the buck. I'm just saying, but that was the context. Because urban legends get spread. Then it become he went up on the podium and was talking about, and that's not what happened.
I read that. Yeah.
Can I just want to finish this thought just so people understand my whole position on this. Nothing the critique that I had of homophobia and all these things are things that I've expressed to our Queen Mother when she was living.
Right.
So that's the other thing. It wasn't like I waited until she died to attack her or critique her. I have a critique.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I could do it again, I would not have done it on that day.
Right.
And for that, I am deeply sorry and deeply apologetic, and I've always said that. I take responsibility for that. I hold on to my critique, but I should have given us space to breathe, to mourn, to celebrate, to process because of what she meant. Now, I don't do that with these white folk. Donald Rumsfeld died. My headline was war criminal dies. Reagan died. I didn't give them the 12 hours. I went straight at it. So my principle is to be honest in death as we are in life, but she's ours.
Yes.
And where I went wrong, and please speak, Elder.
No, when that other brother wrote wrote it. See, someone can't come into my culture, change my language, change my assessment of what the human being is, and tell me I must accept it. That's total. And then when I don't accept it, I'm called homophobic. That's inappropriate. You know, I remember trying to do straight Black Pride rally, and the National Black Theater shut us out because the gay community say someone who was in our leadership criticized some gay people. So let me see now. I didn't call myself straight. The people that say they cool is saying I'm straight. So what are they saying? But first again, they're changing my language. They're changing my concepts. They're telling me I don't have a right to say that I see no scientific foundation for your being gay, but you have a right to say you do. And I have to accept your premise. And that's a false thesis to start with. And so what we need to begin to start asking the most fundamental question, what that dude did that morning was wrong. I knew from the beginning that wasn't you. Otherwise you'd have heard from me way back. But things get caught up in shit like that, and people, with the internet, people take a fragment, run with that shit, and you ain't never catch it.
Right.
I did a piece with Sarnetta, hour and 45 minutes.
You did many
I did this 3-minute.
One day I'm gonna get to do one with Sarnetta, man. I need to know the right people.
Because you guys are in front of Happy. Right here, this is where we're all having this conversation.
But let me make the
Whenever,
point.
just let me know, since I got you.
There was 3 minutes of that, right, that criticized continental Africans for their behavior.
Right.
The only tape that got to Africa was the 3 minutes.
The 3 minutes, right. The sound
Not the hour and 40 minutes.
Right, that's how it be.
Which is crazy in Africa.
Right.
So we know shit can go wrong with that.
Yes, sir.
I just think that we have to get to a position where people stop defining our reality. I don't care whether you LGBTQ. If you want to be that, that's fine, but you can't tell me to accept that. I want her, you're a human being. I treat you just like I treat a Japanese, a Chinese, a Jew, anybody. But don't tell me I have to not only treat you like a human, but I have to go a step further and declare I agree with you on who you say you are, when all my senses say the opposite. All my cultures say the opposite. All my knowledge say the opposite. That's where the argument is, and no one is taking it there. And we ain't gonna even get to molestation, because I used to be a counselor of young gay men, and I never met one of my students that wasn't molested before declaring gay.
Yeah,
And
see, that's where we're gonna disagree.
We don't have to, I'm talking about the facts. I have family members, and so some of them lose their life. You know, but how they started in the process, there's no scientific foundation for none of that. And when they present it, I'll be willing to stop and read it. I know the scientific there is for hermaphrodite. There's even a number produced every year for the last 60 years that we're keeping record. But you're going to create a whole subculture that tell me that all of my values and my culture is incorrect. And I'm supposed to accept that without even a discussion on your proof. And that's what that ain't done by, I'm not talking about the individual kid or guy, woman who's gay. There's a system. This gay thing is an international movement. It is economical, it is political, and it's ideological. It's not just individuals who happen to say I'm gay or feel gay or even know they're gay. There's an international movement, well-financed, one of the most powerful movements in America, if not the world. They topple governments.
That's a longer conversation.
That's what I was about
I'm
to
gonna say
say.
for the record, I disagree with 99% of that. But I know that's a different conversation for a different time that we should have.
And that's why this is an intro. You know what I mean?
That they can prove that the genetic proposition they're declaring have scientific genetic backing. And I've been looking for that proof.
We're gonna find some time to build on that. Happy, sister, for sure. Happy, Sinetta TV.
Yes.
Yo, y'all family, man, whatever.
Now everybody's been gathering around. I work with Happy. Y'all need to walk through, buy a t-shirt or a tape.
That's it.
I buy one of everything.
That's a documentary, one of the best documentaries that they put out in a very long time. Check that out. My brother Mark, man, I appreciate you, man. We're gonna build further. All right?
For
yes.
sure,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you for